It's a €36,000, 46,000 without government grants car, which is fully electric, fully automatic transmission. It's got 341 litres in the boot, and it's a 5-door hatchback as you would expect. It looks completely normal on the outside except for the 16-inch Astana Alloys, and they're designed in such a way as to be fully aerodynamic with the body design. I'm not too sure that I like them that much, but I think they're a bit Marmite. Some people seem to love them, some people seem to not so much. It's 134 horsepower and it's €120 tax. There's 341 litres in the boot. Some of that is taken away by the cables, and most of the time they genuinely will live outside of their neat handy bags they've been giving you. You've also got shopping bag hooks on the inside too, but genuinely every single day I've had the cables out, they've literally just been shoved back in the boot. The infotainment system, and it's got this cool gesture control. I don't know if you can hear the swoosh. Shuriken. But yeah, so that's kind of cool, and you can use it within the different menus as well. You've obviously got your radio functions, media, car web, app connect on your phone. This is when you can heat up the car prior to your departure. You can check your vehicle settings, come out of the menu, check traffic warnings, do all your normal stuff. Air conditioning. Mode dial basically gives you the normal range. Have to turn the engine on. Reach out and touch faith. So I was trying to set up the user on the car to all the settings, just how they like them. Now, there's no electric seats in this car, so it's not doing that, but that's the configuration wizard just there. You'll come out of that. So it displays all of the charging details, and if I put it into mode, so here you get the selection of each driving mode. And then, so if you're in Eco Plus, this is showing me here that I have a range of 193 kilometers. If I change that to Eco, it's dropped down to 178, and if I change it to normal, it has dropped down to 164 again. So there's the driving modes there that you can flick through, and you can do that while you're driving as well. As you're going along, you'll see the charge move to the right as you're increasing your speed, and then as you take your foot off the pedal, it'll go to the left. Other than that, everything else is standard Golf. Here you have your volume controls, your cruise control setting, then you can scroll through all of your menus, which are standard Golf menus that you are used to looking at. Your fuel consumption, average consumption, is your range, driving time, distance, all that kind of good stuff. You can go through a few different menus: navigation systems, audio, telephone, vehicle status, driving data. I'll stick to that, and I usually have it at speed. What I'm in now, which is normal. You see I've got the air conditioning and I've got the ability to change the temperature. As I move that into Eco, I no longer have air conditioning or control over the temperature. This is to increase the range of the charge that you've got left in the car. Apart from that, it's really just a very standard Golf you're driving. It looks pretty standard from the outside. The only thing that differentiates it on the outside from a normal Golf is the e-Golf insignia. You've got it on the front bumper and then on the rear as well. You also have this lovely little blue strip running along the front of the lights, and then you've got these 16-inch Astana Alloys, which are fairly noticeable even to people who don't really know, I think. And they do look electric car, but everything else about the car is standard hatchback, which I really, really like. Still getting used to charging electric vehicles, and in this, as the range is in general between 250 to 277 kilometers while I've been testing it, I've been charging it when it drops down to 100 kilometers because I'm still not used to using the charge on these and guessing how much range is really left, because you can go to seeing quite a normal range and then the next minute you'll look at it and it's dropped quite considerably, which can give you that range anxiety that everyone here talks about. I'm sure as people get used to it with possibly smaller journeys, you won't have to think of it so much. It'll become an afterthought, but there's still a lot of planning to do with electric cars, and I'll probably charge it once more tonight. So it's a good thing that there's a lot of pickup with people, so there are queues for charging stations, but it's a bad thing then because it's not just a case of having a cup of coffee and charging your car. You now have to wait for the person in front of you to charge your car. You then have to time it right and make sure that you are next in the queue, and then you have to wait while your car charges again, or until you get enough charge to get you home. Included with the car are 2 charging cables. You've got the standard home charging slow cable, which takes about 8 hours for a full charge, and then you've got the fast charging cable, which is 4 hours for a full charge at a compatible system. The home chargers are about €800 to get installed, but again, it's faster charging and greater savings available with this. I think the cables are messy. I'd like to see the wireless charging where you just drive over a platform that's installed in your driveway if you're lucky enough to have a driveway. So basically there'll be less messing in the morning when you're all dressed up for work. The last thing you want to do is drag a mucky cable and put it into the boot, because you are guaranteed to scuff your clothes. There's plenty of space for passengers. As I say, this is a standard Golf interior. You've got this lovely leather pack included on this particular press car. Plenty of space in the front for 2 adults, and then plenty of space in the back for 2 adults and a child, possibly on the rear bench as well, or 3 children. E-Golf's rivals include the BMW i3, the Hyundai Ioniq, and the Renault Zoe. Also, you've got the kind of class-leading Nissan Leaf. I'm seeing a lot of these that are running second-hand now, which is interesting to see. They seem to be running quite well. A lot of 2012 models running about the city. So this is genuinely how my boot lives. I could have tidied it up, but I wanted to show you, this is the cables. These are all of my bags that I'm carrying around. So I've used both different cables, one in work and one at home with the slow charger, and I don't see people tidying them away. I don't see people having the time to. So after 8 hours of slow charging this morning, I got in and the mode was set to normal. It's 9.5 degrees degrees, so it's quite cold. So I turn on the heated seats, and then I looked at the range. The range was 233 kilometers. So stuck in an eco, and I turned down the heated seats to 2 or 1. The range increased a little bit. It's a little bit better, but not by much. So the cold really seems to affect the range that you get with the batteries. So it had charged fully for like 8 hours. It was nothing broken in between, and it wasn't a short charge. So battery fully charged, but it's cold. It's definitely had an effect on it. I had a guy commenting from the south of London say that he only gets maximum 200 kilometers out of his. So he must be driving it the majority of the time in normal mode, heated seats on, air conditioning blowing, unless there's an issue with his battery, because I just haven't seen those kind of numbers while I've been driving it. I've recharged it a few times within a week. I'm sure if I were to get used to it, I wouldn't be charging it so much. I don't want to let it drop below 100 kilometers. I've been driving in the cities the whole time, so I'm probably not far away from a charger. It's just that, you know, the glass half empty, half full synopsis. But I've really enjoyed driving it. It's really nice and silent, and the torque just pulls through the whole way without the gears. It's extremely pliant, and it's a lovely golf drive. It does really well on the motorway, it pulls perfectly fine, and again on smaller B roads as well. You've also got this setting where you can put it into regenerative braking, where when you take your foot off the accelerator, it starts to slow down immediately. And I noticed in my rear view mirror with the cars parked behind me that the brake light does go on, because you are slowing down at such a rate as to warrant notifying the car behind you of your slowing of pace. I actually do like the gesture control. I haven't really kind of gotten used to using it or anything like that, but when I used it in the BMW 5 Series Touring, I actually loved it because of the way that the seat was set up with the armrest. It was just so easy to do it. It doesn't work here. I think it's too far away. You have to be a little bit closer, but it's excellent. One thing I did notice though as well, if you don't set up Apple CarPlay, so I obviously have an iPhone, if you don't set up Apple CarPlay, but you want to charge your phone, when you plug in the USB, there's only one USB, it interferes with the system, the sound just suddenly goes off. So you have to plug it out and plug it back in again for some reason, if you really don't want to use Apple CarPlay. So that's a bit of a bugbear, but I think most people hook up Apple CarPlay or Google Play straight away. They just want their phones to be able to mirror onto the dash of the infotainment system, so you can see all your dials and menus. Here there's a few different settings, which is great, and they're easy to navigate through. Very easy to navigate through. It's the Volkswagen system is just so user friendly. So as I say, when you go into certain different driving modes, Eco Plus, you basically can't use the heated seats or the air conditioning system. So it really slows down quite a lot when you're using the regenerative braking. But when you slot it back into B, out of B into drive, it has this lovely, I like it, it's this lovely coasting system. So
coasts along when you take your foot off the accelerator. It takes get a bit of getting used to, because you can find yourself zipping along and going a little bit faster than you normally would as you pull up to stop traffic. So it's just one thing to be aware of, and you do get used to it. You just have to take your foot off the accelerator a little bit sooner than you would normally. You have to balance it though, so that you don't frustrate the drivers behind you, but you get used to it, and it makes the car feel a lot lighter as well as it just coasts along. So it's a lovely drive, it's a lovely golf drive. Everything works the same. You lose boot space to the cables either way, even with the underfloor space that's provided for them. More than likely you're just going to throw them into the boot, unless you're pretty much doing the same journey all the time. You can buy extra cables. They're about €130 if you want to have one at work, if you have a spot at work reserved, if you're lucky enough. And there's a lot of optional extras, of course. If you want to option the virtual dash, it's one I highly recommend. The best one is the Audi, but is in the Audis that I've seen. And as well, when you come to a stop, you can take your foot completely off the brake, and you're not blinding the driver behind you with your brake light. But the thing you really have to look at is the price versus saving. Even with the government incentives added, you really need to look at the price of the cost of the car versus how much you're going to save it over your ownership of the vehicle's lifetime. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Like and subscribe, as they say. And I'll talk to you again soon.